UCLA is a university with unlimited possibilities for students that desire world-class academics and research, unmatched diversity, incredible cultural and social opportunities, successful alumni and career networking, first-class campus facilities, plus America's top intercollegiate sports teams. Located in Westwood, just a few miles from the Pacific Ocean, UCLA's 1 square mile campus is surrounded by famous cities such as Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, and Santa Monica.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Westwood for UCLA Bruin Talk. I'm Dave Marcus, sitting alongside Allison Taylor. Pleased to have you with us. Today we're going to talk about two of the powerhouse programs on the Westwood campus, track and field and men's volleyball.
Before we meet our first guests, let's take a look at the upcoming events.
Our first guests come to us today from the track and field team, a very strong program at UCLA. They're distance runners, you can tell because they're wearing cross-country shirts. Anytime a guy wears a cross-country shirt, you know they can go a long way. We've got Zack, Torres, and Patrick Douglas with us on Bruin Talk. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Cross-country runners, man. You guys are out there doing it all the time, aren't you?
Yeah, most of our guys are running about 13 miles a day, so we literally run Westwood.
What kind of mentality does it take to run the distances? You've got to learn to deal with a lot of things, including the fatigue and the pain of going that kind of distance.
I think, and I think Patrick will agree with me, there's a certain point in all the races where you shut off your brain. It's usually, we call it like falling asleep, and when everybody's running at the same pace, it really isn't as hard as, I mean, it's still hard, but it's not as hard as you know, running alone. So it really helps having such a strong team, and all of us are so close on the team. It's just like being on a team with a bunch of brothers and best friends. So going to practice really isn't work when, you know, everybody's suffering together.
Patrick, you run the 1500 and the 3000, but you really didn't come from a long background of running track. How did you get into running track?
After high school, just running cross country and playing lacrosse and some soccer too, I came to Orange Coast College, a junior college where they didn't have a lacrosse team, and I'd pretty much had my mind set on running. So if you run cross country, you run track. So started running track there, and I loved it. So,
Zach, we talked about how strong the program is, ranked preseason top 15. What kind of goals do you see for the team this year?
Well, I'm a senior now, so I've seen this program transfer from 4 years ago when we just got a new coach. The joke is that Forrest, our coach, and I were both freshmen at the same time. And the real big difference from those years has been the closeness of the team and how much these guys have grown to not only just respect each other, but really be like true friends. And, you know, if we're going to go anywhere, whether it be a run on our own or you know, to the dining hall, wherever, usually everyone's going with us. And I think that's been the biggest improvement since the past year. And now, because of that closeness, we're getting great recruits. You know, we just got, I think, 6 guys coming in that are solid, that are really going to help this program. And we really have a chance in the next few years to really place well at the national championship meet, and especially in cross country. And in track, we have guys right now that can really roll out there and, you know, do some damage and really help the team out for the track and field program.
Zack, Patrick mentioned that he played lacrosse. You're a baseball player, second baseman, so I know you had to hop out of the way of a lot of guys sliding into the bag. Was that good training for running one of the most unusual events in track, the steeplechase?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I transferred from baseball was the mentality, and I was able to kind of break each part of the race down. And I guess, foot-eye coordination, not exactly hand-eye coordination, but the steeplechase is an interesting race because it's not only just great runners. I don't consider myself a fast or amazing runner, but I do consider myself a competitor. So I feel like all of our guys, if there's a Monopoly tournament, it's going to break out into a war because all of us are so competitive. But the steeplechase is fun because it's less about running and more about just competitiveness and taking the pain, as cheesy as that sounds. Because when you're running close to 2 miles over hurdles and in pools of water with wet shoes, it's not fun. I've never had a fun steeplechase, but it's great when you finish the race. You feel like you've accomplished
And
something.
I know you know some of the historical perspective of why it's called steeplechase.
Yeah, I went in Europe. They used to race from steeple to steeple, from church to church, and they used to have barriers or obstacles in the way. And then people started to become good at it, so they would put it. They started to make an event on the track. And my coach is going to kick my butt if I get that information wrong.
No such drama in the races you run, Patrick, but you played a sport where you obviously have a great hand-eye coordination. Lacrosse is a sport where you have to have a stick in your hand at all times. Mm-hmm. How hard was it to get involved in a sport where you've got nothing in your hands?
It was definitely a jump, but you definitely take the team perspective from a team sport like lacrosse to where most people think cross country and track and field is more of an individual sport, which there's an individual aspect to it, but you still have cross country, your top 7 guys, that's who you practice with every day, and so took that team perspective with it, and works well.
Indoor season just ended. You guys are finally outdoors in the sunshine, and it's leading up to the Pac-12 championships and the NCAA championships. Mm-hmm. Number one, how's the transition from indoor to outdoor, especially for a distance runner? And number two, how do you make sure you peak at the right time when championship season approaches? Having an indoor and outdoor season makes it a little more difficult to peak at the right time for outdoors, because if you look at just the outdoor season, it's a really long season, but if you add indoor into it, it's 4 months of hard training, and it's easy to overdo it and peak too early. So we take not a break, maybe a couple days easy, and then kind of revamp and not try to kill ourselves at the beginning of outdoor, because it is a long season. But yeah, indoor is different with the bank tracks and usually shorter distances. So it's a little transition with more miles and different kind of strength training. So yeah, it's different. Zack, is it hard indoors to maintain where you are in the race? You're going around so many times.
I've actually, once in a race, I miscounted the laps, and I came through the finish line and, did the lean. And I thought I got it, and we had 1 lap to go, and everyone just kept going, and I was looking around like, you guys counted wrong, but I counted wrong. So that's difficult, but luckily a lot of distance guys, we really don't do that much indoor, just because it is a lot of wear and tear on our bodies from cross country, because it's only a few weeks right after cross country to go in and compete at the indoor level. So most of our team, and I mean like 90% of our guys, really stay with cross country to outdoor, because that's where we can get most points and be the successful runners that coach trains us to be.
Patrick, we keep talking about how grueling this season can be and how much you guys put your body through. How do you do it on a daily basis? Tell us a little bit about the progression of your training. Zack said earlier sometimes you run 13 miles a day, but I'm sure you can't do that every day.
Surprisingly, a lot of people do. We have on our, I guess you would call it a recovery day, but we still run 8 miles in the morning and 3 to 5 miles in the afternoon for a double every day. And workout days can be a hard 10, 11, 12-mile workout, and then another 3 or 4 mile run in the afternoon. So it's all the little things you do, the strengthening exercises. I know me and Zach live
Patrick does a great job, and that's been that was a surprise seeing him come in from a junior college and see how dedicated he was with stretching and bands and rolling out and just the little things that it takes for runners like us to maintain our fitness and stay uninjured. That's been extremely surprising, and it's been a great thing to have on our team because he's got our freshmen. I've always been someone that's advocated using Acosta, which is our training center.
That's what we love.
And yeah, our joke is that we live in there and that they've got lockers for us and everything. So Patrick's been great having that on the team because it's someone to get the freshmen fired up to stretch and ice and do all the little things to try to catch up and help us be a great team.
And Patrick, immediate payoffs. You won the 3,000 at the Husky Invitational up in Seattle. That's got to feel great to be at the first place spot right after you started your track career here at UCLA.
Yeah, it was actually at New Mexico Invitational, but yeah, it was a real fun meet to be at. First indoor meet, and it was an awesome experience to get in there with the big guys at the D1 level and get a win up there in Albuquerque. So it was cool.
Well, people on the outside say running is running, but running with a class of D1 runners has got to be different than running with a bunch of JC runners.
Yeah, it really is. When I was at OCC, I would kind of, at the dual meets, I'd be like, oh, I know I'm going to win the 3K and 15. And coming here, it's I'm not even beating my teammates in most races. So it's a different aspect, but it's definitely a good opportunity to work harder and get much faster. So it's great.
Zach, you thinking of coaching? You sound like a coach talking to us.
I don't know. My dad's a coach, so that's probably why he probably wore off on me. I don't know. We'll see in the near future. I really want to take advantage of the opportunities that UCLA has provided us, and bring my competitiveness to somewhere in the work field. Yeah.
Patrick, with Zack leaving, he sounds like you should be the next leader of this team. Are you ready for that responsibility? You've got some time left at UCLA. You've got to be looking to mentor the younger runners.
Yeah, it's great having those younger guys looking up to you. It definitely makes you, it keeps you honest, and make sure that you bring your A game. Because if you're slacking, they're looking up to you. So we have an awesome group of guys that trust us, and yeah, definitely I'm there to help.
Zach, I want to get back to something you said about stretching and icing and working out in Acosta. You've got strength and conditioning coaches, but boy, they're dealing with throwers and they're dealing with sprinters and they're dealing with distance runners. How much individual attention do you get at UCLA for your particular discipline?
Do you mean as opposed to inside the weight room?
Yeah, weight room or any of the other programs.
UCLA provides so many people inside the training staff, when it comes to trainers that mean just icing and stretching and things like that. It's nice having that opportunity that UCLA or that the athletic department, pays for and provides for us, because, cross country is a grueling sport, and, there's lots of pounding, and we're going out there. I mean, the bottom line is we're going out there and trying to feel as much pain as possible and ignore that pain and go out and, beat our bodies up, and then come back and do that day after day after day. So it's really nice having that training center to stretch and ice, and if we need treatment, it's been, especially in this past year, things have really improved with the new training staff. Everybody's been great, and really, if we need something, they really care for our needs.
Well, you guys have both been terrific. Thanks for coming in and joining us. Best of luck as we head toward championship season, and a couple of big home meets on the schedule. You can follow all the exploits of track and field on UCLABruins.com. Zach, Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back with more Bruin Talk after this brief public service announcement.
A trophy can be made just about anywhere. But there's one place where champions are made. UCLA. Champions meet here.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Bruin Talk. It is now time to honor our Student Athlete of the Week. This week, we honor Kylie Price as our Athlete of the Week. Kylie was one of 3 female Bruins to compete at the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships. The UCLA women's track and field team placed 15th out of 55 teams with only the 3 athletes competing. Kylie's personal best performance at the long jump event earned her a 4th place finish and first team All-America honors. Congratulations, Kylie, and good luck with the rest of the season. If you would like additional information about UCLA athletics, please visit our website at uclabruins.com.
One of the teams you'll find on the website is on a roll right now. Volleyball has won 6 matches in a row, and unbelievably, only 2 of them went 5 sets. We're very pleased to be joined by a couple of the big members of the squad, Steve Odell, the freshman, and Clay Paullin, the transfer from BYU. Welcome to UCLA Bruin Talk.
Thank you for having us.
Clay, BYU and UCLA, big rivals. Got to be strange coming over and playing for the Bruins after playing in Provo.
Certainly. They're a great team, and so it's been interesting coming here to play at another great school.
The MPSF, Steve, is new to you, but not to your family. Your brother Dan is an assistant coach on the women's volleyball team. How did that help get you from New York to Westwood?
You know, having Dan here really helped me come to Westwood because it was great convenience seeing him over holidays, Thanksgiving. I couldn't go back to Rochester, so I got to spend it with him and his wife's family, and that was really nice and comforting.
Dave alluded to the fact that you are from New York. Clay, you're a local product from Palos Verdes. You both took incredibly different journeys to get here. What brought you to UCLA?
Well,
from BYU.
Yeah, well, I came back home after I left BYU, and I had the choice between UCLA and USC. And I loved UCLA when I came here and visited, and so I decided to come here.
Steve, your coach, John Speraw, in his first year at UCLA, national championship coach from UC Irvine. Big change for the program after Al Skates was here for 50 years, but it seems like the team is really buying into Coach Speraw's approach.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the upperclassmen, I think it was a little different for them, adjusting from Skates to Speraw, and their philosophies on volleyball and coaching are a little different. And I think they've done a really good job setting the example for the freshmen and the underclassmen of following the coach and doing what's right for the team, and instead of like pursuing individual aspects.
We mentioned a couple of the big wins over Long Beach State and Irvine. And Irvine, of course, a team that you lost to early in the season. You got them the last time, and of course, that's John Speraw's old team. Yeah. Tell us about the emotions that were involved in that match.
It was a super exciting match. There were tons of people there. Really exciting. Our whole team was gearing up, preparing, focusing as best we could. It was just a great match, and I was happy to be a part of it as best I could.
Clay, the Bruins seem like they're hitting their stride now. What are some of the differences? How has the team been able to turn the corner over an up-and-down start?
Well, I think it's taken a while for what Coach Speraw has been teaching to kick in. So once we've started learning, he calls them systems. Once we've learned his systems and execute them better, we've been winning games.
Steve, Coach Speraw was recently named the U.S. men's national team head coach. It's got to be exciting to play for somebody that you know already has an incredible pedigree, but is also going to go on and coach the national team.
Yeah, I think he told us in practice a few days before public release, and we were all super excited for him and the possibilities he has beyond UCLA. And I think I'm speaking for the whole team when I say we know he's going to do great things for USA volleyball and his legacy.
The national championships in men's volleyball are in May in Paullin Pavilion. Mm-hmm. The Bruins need to make a real strong run toward the end of the MPSF schedule and into the tournament to get into Paullin. How much of a motivator is that the national championships are on your home floor?
I think it's a huge motivator. These opportunities don't come around very much, and we all know that we need to do our best and work our hardest to take advantage of what's ahead.
Clay, I know coaches would say you got to look at one match at a time, don't think beyond the next serve, but it's got to be in the back of your minds the chance to play at home for a national title.
Of course, that's a huge advantage to be playing for a national title at home, but certainly we got to think about every game. We got to get there first.
Now, the Bruins had to spend a year in the John Wooden Center before coming back home to Paullin Pavilion. What's it like playing in the renovated facility?
Oh, it's awesome. It looks better than ever. It's a great facility. I got to see it before and now after, and so it's great to see, and I love playing there.
Clay, coming to UCLA has got to be an incredible experience. BYU, as you mentioned earlier, has a very successful program, but what was it like coming here to a school where Coach Skates had been coaching for 50 years, 19 national championships? It's got to be a great feeling wearing UCLA on your chest.
It is. I love the fact that I got to see the end of his whole career, and I got to be a part of it and witness how he coached and what he did. So I'm really grateful that I got that opportunity. And now I'm grateful that I get an opportunity to play with the national team coach and train under someone who's the best in the USA.
Steve, when you were growing up, you're 6'5", and you're a setter, and that seems tall to the average person, but 6'5", about average for a setter in NCAA volleyball.
Yeah, a lot of the setters we compete against are even taller than me, or like a little bit shorter. Stanford has a setter, James Shaw, who's about 6'8". Santa Barbara setter is like 6'7", so.
Now, I think you said you've got 28 blocks this year, but your role is really distributing, isn't it?
Yeah, I try to set up a really even distribution to all the hitters, and Coach Braw's been working with me a lot on that. Beginning of the year, I wasn't so good at it, and I'm starting to get better.
Clay talked about learning the systems and playing. How difficult is it to learn a system? Because you've got to be aware of everybody on the floor when you're playing setter.
Yeah, that is the most enjoyable part of the game for me, actually. I love distributing it. It's like it's a mind game between me and the other team, and so I really enjoy that. But Coach Braw wants us to run some pretty difficult systems, so it's taken me a while to understand and really utilize those to our advantage in the match.
Clay, the Bruins have already played some amazing matches this season. Is there anyone in particular that stands out in your mind? What's been most memorable for you?
It's a good question. They're all really good games, I thought, but specifically, I liked beating Stanford a lot in the Wooden Center. We had lost to them previously, and then after beating them, we've gone on a huge streak, and I think that can be viewed as sort of a turning point in our season. I really enjoyed it.
Steve, I was joking about the matches, only 2 of the last 6 going 5 sets. Seems like every match you guys played at the start of the year went 5 sets.
Yeah.
What did that do to your team mentally, knowing, number one, you could play a 5-set match, but number 2, learning how to close things out quicker?
I think it was for 7 or 8 matches that went 5. It really gave us a mindset of if we persevere and really push throughout the entire match, never give up, we'll always be in a chance to win. And I think even in a bigger scope, it shows us what we can do on the whole entire season. That if we really push and persevere throughout the whole season, through the ups and downs, that hopefully we can make a run in the end of the year in Paullin.
Steve, I know Coach Baraz kind of changed your guys' practice schedule around a little bit from what Coach Skates was doing. You guys practice in the morning now. Do you think it's important to get your day started with that practice, get it out of the way, and then move on to school? How do you balance the academics and the athletics?
Yeah, I really like it. I think the balance is definitely tough. Coming from high school and now to college, a lot more responsibility. We spend a lot more time playing volleyball. But Coach Baraz, he really wants us to be successful off the court as well. So he sets a good example for us, like studying hard and making sure we're putting in the hours and doing what we need to do to be successful on and off.
Clay, we're getting down toward crunch time. Team is on a roll right now. What does the team need to do to make that run toward the NCAA tournament?
Well, we want to keep winning, and we have a shot at making an at-large bid, so we'd have an automatic bid into the NCAA Final Four, which would be huge for our team. And so we want to make sure that we keep our momentum, keep playing strong, every game at a time, like you said, and make sure we're playing our best volleyball when we get to the MPSF tournament.
This time of year is pretty grueling, especially in a sport like volleyball where you are constantly putting stress on your joints. What do you do to make sure you stay healthy? How do you maintain health during such a long season?
I always stretch and roll out. That's just a personal thing I like to do. You can also ice, and we have a whole medical staff here or training staff here that will tend to any injury that you have.
Steve, you get a lot of coaching at the high school level, but when you get to college, there is this entire support staff. What's it been like having the full arsenal of strength and conditioning coaches and trainers and people who are helping you maximize your potential?
Yeah, I love it, to be honest. I think it's amazing. I try to utilize as much as I can. If I'm feeling sore, I can get a soft tissue massage, deep tissue. They can show me new stretches I've never seen before. Even the coaches, we have so many coaches and they're so helpful. I try to always talk to them before and after the match, see what I could do better, what I'm doing wrong, try to fix those things right away. And so UCLA offers me so many opportunities to become better, and I'm just trying to use those as best I can.
Steve, you and I were talking a little bit before the show about assistant coach Andrea Becker, who has an intense background in psychology, and we were saying UCLA is probably one of the only teams that has that opportunity at their disposal. Tell me a little bit about how much Andrea means to your team and how much she helps the chemistry.
She's incredible. She helps us in many ways that a head coach or an assistant, a typical assistant coach, really cannot. She leads us in focusing drills and meditation before each practice. She teaches us things that you wouldn't typically hear. Like she points out how we need to bring emotion together into the team instead of going our own separate ways, and we try to play together. She's inspiring. She's a really hard worker. I honestly can't speak highly enough of her, to be honest.
Clay, it's a sport with no clock, but sometimes it feels like the clock is against you, especially as the match gets on. There are times when you've just got to make a run, 3-4 points in a row, no side outs. That's when the mental part really comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly. She'll take us aside, Becker, and we'll have like a lunch with her, and she'll talk to us about at those points of the matches when we need to really focus, and she really emphasizes breathing deeply so that we can play the way we've been training for so long. So yeah, certainly as it winds down and you're down 21, 24, whatnot, we really try to focus on breathing and making sure that every single play we do what we wanted to do.
Steve, this team, as we said, on a roll, 6 matches. Can this team get even better than you are now?
Definitely. Coach Sproul sets an example where as soon as we learn something new and as soon as we have like a new skill, we're on to the next thing. We're never pausing or staying on the same level. We're trying not to plateau. It's more like a mountain, just trying to constantly go up and get better.
Well, gentlemen, we wish you the best as we get into crunch time. Thank you for joining us on Bruin Talk, and congratulations on a good turnaround of the season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. It's championship season in a lot of the spring sports, so we'll have a lot of news for you when we get together next time for another edition of Bruin Talk. That's going to do it for this week. For Allison Taylor, I'm Dave Marcus, thanking you for joining us. And until next time, see you from Westwood. Bye-bye.